What's going on, folks, and welcome to another episode of Thoroughbred Teamsters Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Rich, from Northern California's Local 315. This episode, I wanted to touch on part-timers and kind of building relationships with them, kind of creating those relationships. You know, the last few weeks, I've had a lot of part-timers come up to me asking questions. I mean, they ask a lot of people questions, and usually they're kind of, guided towards to me. And I just wanted to touch on that, kind of how I approach those situations, how I've, gone to know a lot of these part-timers. So I just want to touch base on that, hopefully encourage you guys to do the same. I know various buildings, whether you work at the company or not, they vary in sizes, workplace areas and whatnot. So it might not be easy to get to know the part-timers, but doesn't mean you can't get to know them. It shouldn't stop you from getting to know them. It's not impossible to get to know them. Reach out to them. And this is just kind of how I approach it. It's kind of, what do you call it? It's not a foolproof plan, but, it's a lot of trial and error. It's what works best for me in my building, with the people I work with. And I just, again, want to encourage you guys to reach out and do the same. These are our next generation. I hear a lot of people, not here. I read a lot of people online, when you're kind of in those groups, those, union groups or whatnot, workplace groups. I just see a lot of people talking about these part-timers and their work quality, their attitude, this and that and the other. And I'm just like, in my mind, I don't really, reach out online because I don't get involved in all that. It turns into bickering back and forth. I stopped that a long time ago. But one of the questions I ask myself is, what have you done to help them? A lot of people want to talk down on these part-timers or tell them what they don't know or what. But, what are people really doing to help them out, to guide them? So, again, this is just what works for me. Hope you like it. Check it out. Now, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about building relationships with our part-timers. Now, this may seem like it kind of applies only to the company I work for, but, the things I'm about to share, you can really use that, anywhere. It may not all apply, but there's some stuff you can choose from it. So if you don't work for the company, just tune in, stay tuned in. Maybe you'll pick something up, hopefully, because that's what this is geared towards. Now, as a 41-year-old father of two, married man, and with a lot of our part-timers definitely being in their 20s, college students, still living with parents, maybe play video games in their spare time, whatever, like all that stuff. And not to say that that's what they all are. We have some young people with, families with children. So, the spectrum is definitely, it's a wide spectrum. But as I've said from episode 1, we got to stay in touch and really do our best to reach out to these younger members. Now, it's not easy. I don't go there and pretend to act like I play video games. I don't try to speak some lingo that I'm not hip on. I am who I am. I was young once. I've been there. I was in their shoes, and that's about all I can give. But even that, they don't want to hear fucking old war stories on, oh, what was it like when you were a part-timer, grandpa? It don't get down like that. But I've been able to build relationships with our part-timers despite that difference, that generational gap. And it can be not strenuous. It takes a long time. It can take a long time. One of the things that, I do have working in my favor is that we are a small building. So, I just doing a quick lap in the morning of our building takes 5 minutes, and I can greet everybody on the sort. We only have, 5 people on the PM shift, our local sorters right now, so that's easy to see too. I can see all these people and greet them and eventually get to know their names, which is what I do. But for those of you that are thinking right now, like, what, I don't really know any of our part-timers, and that's fine. Majority of our building doesn't either. But I can't stress to you how important it is to reach out to those guys and start giving back. for a variety of reasons. It benefits us as drivers. Excuse me. And, the smoke is cleared out here, sidetrack. The smoke is cleared out here for the last few days, but I do seem to be still feeling the effects of breathing it in for the last few weeks, month, whatever you want to call it. So, I don't have a COVID hack or nothing, but, I might have to turn my head away a couple times, just give a good old, so bear with me. Excuse me. But back to the part-timers. So, for the last few years, I have been working to build these relationships with part-timers. And again, it's not easy. One of the easiest ways, and maybe ask yourself this for those of you that work at the company, the easiest way it was for me to start was to get to know my loader. I got to know my loader. I've had several throughout the years. And that's the best place to start. Start with your loader, because if you can build that relationship with your loader, and oftentimes the loaders are younger, not always, but in my case at my building it's usually like that. But I've gotten to know my loaders pretty well enough to where I know that they can trust me to come to me if they have any issues or anything like that. That's I come in, I'll greet them, hey, how's it going? I don't fucking criticize them. I don't talk shit about their loads. I don't care what the loads are like. I get through the day regardless. And unfortunately, I know some people do have issues with that, and it will prevent them from getting to know their loaders, which is fine. But, just start with that. Start to get to know your loader. What's your name? How's it going? When my loader, and actually he is older than me. I've had young loaders. I would say it's 50-50. I've had some that are in their 20s, and I've had some that are older than me. But either way, I get to know them. I treat them right. I know they're not going to be perfect. I don't expect perfection out of them. So, slowly but surely, I don't sit there and try to learn their whole life story about that. That's unrealistic. But just getting to know their name, greeting them every morning, ask if there's any issues. That communication is actually, the company used to encourage that back when I first started. But I don't sense it so much now. Again, at least at our building, I can only talk about the experiences I have and I view at my building. But start with that. And, once you kind of start to feel comfortable, maybe start talking to the start greeting the part-timers as you walk by them. If you see them every day and you're not greeting them, then that's an issue right there too. Greet them. Hey, how's it going? Good morning. And you know what? You're going to get some side-eye looks like, what's this dude, greeting me for? It's 7:38 in the morning. I've been here since 4. Some people don't want to talk to people. Some people don't want to talk to drivers. Some people, actually appreciate it. You do it enough, you start to build those relationships. And if you ask their names and get to remember their names, that sounds simple enough. I've had people. I have a youngster right now. I don't see him every day. I've maybe talked to him like 3 times, but the fact that I remembered his name like 2 weeks later when I saw him, I could tell he was kind of caught off guard by that. Like, oh, hey, how's it going? I was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Say his name. Not going to put him on blast right now. I don't know if he's going to make it or not. He's still in his 70s, but kind of get it started right there. Just a simple greet, get to know the name. Ask them how they're doing, how they like it, and keep it moving. You don't have to do that every day. Just, and you'll kind of see who, you do that enough times throughout, as time passes, you'll see who is kind of starts to open up to you and who really wants nothing to do with you. And that happens too. I've learned not to, push myself on people who just really don't want, they just want to do their job and go home. We have that share of people too. Excuse me. So, building those relationships, and then, what I usually wait for, and I do this with the part-timers on the PM shift too. This isn't just the morning guys. What I actually ended up doing with the part-timers on the PM shift is we were kind of going through them a lot. It seemed like every week there was a new group. And when I finally started noticing recently throughout this pandemic, pre-COVID, we had a PM shift of about 3 part-timers. Currently, we're at 5, but it got as high as 12. At its highest peak for us during the summer. So I knew I was going to get to know all of them. I knew there was going to be a constant rotation. I'm maybe not the most popular decision to make. Just sit there and kind of let them get to know the lay of the land first. So yeah, I'd ask about them once in a while. I'd ask the supervisor, hey, how they doing? I'd ask other drivers, that are working the PM shift as well. Hey, how they doing? Well, this and that. So, I'm constantly just kind of getting a little heads up on it, but I didn't really speak to them a lot. You could just tell, again, it's just one of those things where as I'm even walking by them, I don't say nothing. Hey, how's it going? Like, you could tell they either don't want to be bothered or that they don't think I'm talking to them or whatever. So, but as they got closer to gaining their seniority, then, okay, now that it looks like they're going to stick around. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? I'm Jeremy. I'm the shop steward here, yada, yada, yada. Slowly but surely I start to go around, and I can tell they're like, what's a shop? Some of them are like, what's a shop steward? Oh, yeah, I'm a union. When do I get my benefits? So I started asking those questions, and a lot of them actually were like, hey, what do I got to do to get my benefits? So that's usually a good... That's usually good at opening up the dialogue. They want to, hey, when do I get my benefits? Oh, you want your benefits? Here's the number to call. Here's my experience with new people getting it. Sometimes they don't send them the information right away. You might want to call them and get ahead of that. So right off the bat, I'm doing my best to look out for them, trying to give them the information they need. And again, they appreciate that. 1 week I'm introducing myself and trying to get to know their names. And then the next week, hey, how's have you made your seniority yet? Oh, here's what to look out for. And then, you just kind of slowly but surely, maybe every week, try to find something else. So, hey, so have you looked into this, or are you aware that, you're eligible for this, or whatever? Hey, if you have any questions, you see me around here anytime, hit me up. And then it gets to the point to where, they all got my number now. This is over a period of maybe 2 months. I'm not going to sit here and act like I talk to them every week. I don't want to force the union game on them, because that can be a turnoff. It really, to me, it can be kind of like a Bible thumper. And no offense to Bible thumpers out there, but you ever have someone who's just really deep into religion and you love them and you respect them and all that, but once they really start preaching hard, you're just kind of like, come on, man, I'm not about that right now, So I've kind of even learned that, because I can be a contract thumper. Oh, the union this, contract that. I understand that I can be, and when I say aggressive, I don't mean like, like, you better listen to the contract. Like I can come off strong. Let me just, put it like that. So, I've learned to tone it down a little bit. I've learned to give them their space, let things absorb, let them kind of figure things out for themselves, check in with them every once in a while. When you're first brand new in the door, what are the first things you want them? What would I want? I kind of constantly ask myself, what would I want to know about if I was brand new in the door? Well, I'd want to know about my seniority. How does seniority work? Usually they want to know about when does vacation kick in, their pay, when do they get raises? Just some of the simple questions that I'm used to talking to them, and I kind of have an idea of what they're already interested in. These are frequently asked questions, I guess you could say. So, you kind of want to get ahead of the curve on that and start giving them that information, and building that trust, building that relationship, building that rapport with them. So, again, over a couple months, this is what I was working on, especially with the PM shift. And last week we had a small issue. So, now they're comfortable. They hit me up having questions once in a while, and I wasn't really picking up that there might be an issue arising. They were just like, hey, Jeremy, what about this? They were asking about seniority. No, they were asking about, the ability to guaranteed work. So that means, I went through this a long time ago in some of the early episodes. As a part-timer in our building, in our contract, you're guaranteed to 3.5 hours of work every day. And you really should maintain that, throughout the course of the month to maintain your health and your health benefits. I think you need, my numbers are rough right now for part-timers. Maybe 60 hours a month to maintain your benefits. And, if you're doing 3.5 hours a day, you miss a couple of days, you can easily miss your benefits. So that's another thing that I really share with those guys. Hey, it's enticing to get those days off offered to you, but I'm telling you, if you're really counting on the benefits, don't do it. Don't take it. So, you just kind of want to open them up and introduce them to that again. Now they're like, man, this dude's really looking out